Well, hello, friends. My thought for today is the need to understand our personal limitations and the need to take physical rest. This is particularly necessary in times of challenge and stress, such as what many face during this COVID-19 crisis. So, my thought is taken from two Bible stories, and I would like to read them. The first is in the book of Kings, First Kings, chapter 19 and verse 3 to 8. Elijah was afraid and fled for his life. He went to Beersheba, a town in Judah, and he left his servant there. Then he went on alone into the wilderness, traveling all day. He sat down under a solitary broom tree and prayed that he might die. I have had enough, Lord, he said. Take my life, for I am no better than my ancestors who have already died. The second reading is in the New Testament. It's a story about Jesus. It's in Mark chapter 4, verse 35, about Jesus calming the storm. Verse 35, as evening came, Jesus said to his disciples, "Let's cross to the other side of the lake." So they took Jesus in the boat and started out, leaving the crowds behind, although other boats followed. But soon a fierce storm came up. High waves were breaking into the boat and it began to fill with water. Jesus was sleeping at the back of the boat with his head on a cushion. The disciples woke him up, shouting, "Teacher, don't you care that we're going to drown?" Then Jesus woke up. He rebuked the wind and he said to the waves, "Silence, be still." Suddenly, the wind stopped and there was a great calm. Then he asked them, "Why are you so afraid? Do you still have no faith?" The disciples were absolutely terrified. "Who is this man?" they asked each other. "Even the wind and the waves obey him." I have often been helped by reading the lives of Bible characters. One of my favourites is the prophet Elijah. His character traits I can relate well to. He's a spontaneous, all systems go type of person, verging on reckless. Elijah experienced the depths of weariness and discouragement just after two great spiritual victories. You will recall from chapter 18 how he defeated the prophets of Baal on Mount Carmel and his prayer for rain was answered. Yet, in chapter 19, verse 4, we read that he seemed to have reached the end of his tether as he prayed that he might die. "I have had enough, Lord. Take my life." Wow, Elijah, steady on. That's a bit reactionary. Can you relate to that? Sometimes in our own lives, discouragement can set in after we have been particularly busy and we become so tired that we can respond irrationally. Often the remedy to help us overcome tiredness or weariness, discouragement, is obvious. And in this story, the prescription from God is quite simple. Elijah, you're exhausted. All you need is sleep, food, and drink. Just do it. In our second reading, we see a similar scenario, but this time it's Jesus. And we note that our blessed Lord himself had a different reaction to his weariness. Like Elijah, Jesus had been very tired because he too had been busy interacting with and teaching a large crowd of people. And so perhaps you could say he was peopled out and felt the need to withdraw. Can you relate to that? I certainly can. We're told that the storm which was going on around him was fierce and with high waves, to the extent that the boat was filling up with water. Yes, yet Jesus was able to sleep through it because he was at peace and in control of the situation. Mark describes the scene so perfectly. It wasn't a head resting on the arm with a one eye open scenario, but a determined plan to recover from the weariness, armed with a cushion. Can you relate to that? This is both a challenge and an encouragement. When we have Jesus living in our hearts, we too can sleep through the storms which are going on in our lives. The storm all around us at present is COVID-19, but we have the God of the waves in the boat with us, and he whispers, peace. We all have our individual storms in our own homes, yet Jesus is in the midst of them, and he whispers, peace. Sadly, Jesus' disciples assumed that he didn't care about them, and panic quickly set in. Mind you, with their eyes on that cushion, can you blame them? Perhaps you think that way on occasions in these unprecedented times. This story highlights the fact that although Jesus is God, he is also human. He got tired, he needed sleep. So what did he do? He simply lay down in the midst of the storm and slept. What an example for us to follow. We sometimes think that because we are Christians, we're invincible. Yet, like Jesus, we have a body that is subject to limitations. Elijah didn't fully understand that and ended up in physical collapse. But Jesus knew that. Do we? And so, whenever you need sleep, grab a cushion. If you're hungry, lovingly prepare your favourite sandwich. If you're thirsty, make your beverage choice, and it will strengthen you for the next step on this interesting journey.